plastic adhesion promoter. This is for plastics. You don't want to just put your primers and top coats or anything on plastic without putting an adhesion promoter on it. Been using this for lots of years. Really, it's one medium coat, not too wet, just enough where it's covered. You don't want it to run off. You can run it very easily, but in the right airflow, it only takes about 15 minutes to sit up before you can throw your primer on it or your sealer. So bare plastic, I'll just say right now, if you have parts that are bare plastic, you don't have to sand them. And if you do sand them, it's a really fine gray Scotch-Brite with a little bit of Dawn dish soap and water, and you're just going across it a little bit. But this bare plastic is made where you can wipe it down with your wax and grease, your water cleaners, and then go right over the top of it with your plastic adhesion promoter, whatever adhesion promoter that you're using. And you do not want to sand bare plastic. If you're going to be doing a grit, like 800 grit, 1000 grit is really rough on plastic. Don't go any coarser than that. If you go to 320 or 220 on plastic, you pretty much have to prime it. You're not going to be able to put your sealer across it and paint it. You're going to have swirl marks. Pretty much 320 grit on plastic is almost like putting 80 grit on your clear coat as you prep your clear coat out. So this has a nice fan pattern to it. Want to be like 12 inches away. You don't want to stop as you're spraying. You do not want any dry spots. You got to have a wet coat on here. This comes out pretty wet. They call this a closed coat. Just because it's wet, you got a full wet sheen across your whole layer. And it doesn't look dry. It's just wet enough to give it that wet look evenly all the way across. That's a closed coat. An open coat is a dry coat, and it doesn't have a full wet look to it like this. That's a closed coat. You do not want to miss any part of this. If you've got little areas, little ridges, those will peel off if you don't put this adhesion promoter on it. That's all it takes, is one coat like that. If you get on this before your 15-minute mark, when you go start spraying, this will start wrinkling up on you. If you're getting wrinkly paint with your adhesion promoters, you have to wait longer before you put your top coats on, your sealers or primers. You have to wait longer. Will wrinkle on you. So I think it's 24 hours, I can't remember, but once you put this on, you can put your primer on within like 24 hours. But you have to wait that 15 minutes. To be really safe, I would wait 20 minutes. So that's Bulldog adhesion promoter. When you buy it out of a can and you're spraying it out of your spray gun, it's pretty thick. So what I do, I use the reducers in my base coats or my sealers, and and I reduce it out of the can like 1:1, and that'll make it a lot thinner to spray with, so it's not so thick. Because if you get on there really thick, you have to really wait longer than 15-20 minutes. You gotta let it sit for like a half hour or 45 minutes or it'll wrinkle. So if you're having problems with the wrinkling, try reducing it down 50-50 before you apply it. And then try to go within your 20 minutes, half hour of dry time before you put your primers on. Anyways, this is really good stuff. The only time this has ever failed me is if I put my primer on or my sealer too fast. If I do it in 12 minutes, I've had it wrinkle on me in 12 minutes. I got excited, started spraying my primer, and in little tiny corners like this where it has a hard time drying, I got wrinklage in there, and then my paint was just peeling off.